Gavin Newsom, it recently resurfaced that he had dated a 19-year-old when he was 39, had an affair with the wife of a campaign manager, and was addicted to alcohol. Or as Hunter calls it, amateur.
There is no bigger fan of Gavin Newsom than Bill Maher. He loves the guy. Bill, snap out of it. And he had Gavin Newsom on his show on Friday night. Couple of sound bites making the rounds, including this one on the trans issue, SOT 19.
A lot of people lately talking about this 80-20 issue, and I think you are on the other side of this now, the side with the 80. 80 being 80% of the people in this country. Again, this is the issue of should biologically born men be able to compete in women's sports.
That's tough.
And, I saw the polling here in California.
You get when you mix Gavin Newsom's hair gel budget with the brain power of a broken Roomba. A political disaster so shiny it blinds you before it bores you. But don't worry. Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly just took a flamethrower to the California Clown Show, and the meltdown is glorious. If you've ever wondered what happens when smug meets smackdown, buckle up, because this roast makes wildfires look like scented candles. Let's dive into the Democratic dumpster fire.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is now calling his city's homeless encampments unacceptable, which is odd since he's the guy who, made them acceptable, turning sidewalks into red carpet events for drug addicts, thieves, and unemployed CNN anchors. On Monday, he urged cities to ban the camps from sidewalks, parks, and other public areas. So after years of denying the problem, he's now pretending to fix it, which is like putting on a condom as you're leaving a whorehouse. Who hasn't?
What's a condom?
But as always, when a far-left Dem runs for national office, he acts like a Republican. This is where the left is...
Poof! Gavin Newsom, the political equivalent of ordering a kale smoothie, then realizing it tastes like betrayal and wet lawn. California's silver-haired salesman of slogans, whose idea of leadership is somewhere between an Instagram filter and a failed Broadway audition for Dictators, the musical. If hypocrisy had a hair gel endorsement, Gavin would be the face and the slick, oily forehead of the brand.
Gavin ponders why Dems lost.
We lost the popular vote and we lost the electoral vote. We got crushed. And we need to be humble about that, and we need to have some grace, and we need to understand why. Was it because of the incumbency penalty? Was it because of inflation? Was it because of interest rates? Was it because of immigration? Was it because we were too, quote unquote, woke? Was it because of issues with Israel? Was it all of the above? I think we are going through that forensic. We need to understand at the same time, we also have to push back against the whitewaters and headwinds of the Trump administration.
Kennedy, I think the answer is yes.
Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly didn't just roast him. They marinated, sautéed, flamed, and served him with a side of gluten-free disaster. Because when it comes to Gavin, there's just so much material. He's like a piñata stuffed with broken promises and NPR podcasts. Every time you hit him, another ridiculous idea falls out.
Gavin Newsom claims he only noticed Biden's cognitive decline once during the 4 years Biden was in office. And that one time was when Biden endorsed Gavin Newsom. According to a new poll, the city with the most STDs in the nation is Detroit.
Let's start with a man's signature move. Pretending to be morally superior while his state resembles the aftermath of a raccoon party in a Whole Foods parking lot. California under Newsom isn't just a mess. It's a high-tech dystopia powered by taxpayer-funded smugness and solar panels that only work on Tuesdays.
Fundamental question, is it fair? And I can give you example after example. Just in my home state, there was someone that won a triple jump by 8 feet.
Right.
It was fundamentally unfair. We haven't been able to figure that out.
You see, the right has weaponized. One might even say they pounced, Emily, on this issue.
I mean, yeah, of course. It was the right who was just so excited to talk about bathrooms and locker rooms. They just couldn't resist.
Gutfeld couldn't resist pointing out that Gavin governs like someone who skimmed how to ruin an economy for dummies and thought it was a to-do list. And Megyn? She tore into him like a lioness who just found a tofu-wrapped deer wearing Gucci. Newsom's economic policies? They're basically TikTok dances performed on the edge of a fiscal cliff, Flashy, embarrassing, and inevitably ending in a painful fall. Remember when he locked down California like it was a Jurassic Park island, but then gallivanted off to the French Laundry restaurant to sip artisanal hypocrisy out of a $700 0-cent wine glass? Gutfeld practically needed a laugh track. You don't need satire when a man's real life is already a Mad Libs sheet filled out by a hungover lobbyist. And while he was preaching stay home, save lives, his own hairstyle never moved. Probably because it's held together by the tears of small businesses, he's shut down for no reason. Megyn Kelly pointed out what everyone else was thinking. If hair gel had a soul, it would sue Gavin Newsom for emotional abuse.
Weird. Gavin's hands. It's time for Gavin's hands.
Welcome to a new segment called Gavin's Hands. He keeps his hands in motion and his hair full of lotion. True, Gavin's views may be idiotic, but his hands moves, well, they're hypnotic. California Governor Newsom's new podcast is out. It's available wherever fine hair care products are sold. And we couldn't help but notice an unintended delight, his unique hand gestures.
Oh, and homelessness. Yes, Gavin's piece of resistance. California has become the first state to turn tent city into a zoning category. Under his reign, homelessness skyrocketed like his ego at a climate change summit. But it's okay, he assures everyone because he cares. Nothing says compassion like turning Venice Beach into a Mad Max prequel with more fentanyl and fewer morals. Greg Gutfeld practically exploded. Cares? Newsom cares in the same way your ex who ghosted you cares. Vaguely, performatively, and mostly about how he looks to his friends. Meanwhile, actual Californians are out here dodging used needles like it's Olympic fencing and hoping a Whole Foods opens up before another open-air med spa does. And then there's his proudest achievement, turning the power grid into a roulette wheel with a god complex. Rolling blackouts? Check. Energy bills that rival rent in Manhattan? Double check. Gavin loves green energy like a cult leader loves incense, ritualistically, fanatically, and completely detached from practical reality.
What he posted, stand by. It's amazing. Okay, he posts the following. California, under the leadership of radical left Democrat Gavin Newsom, continues to illegally allow men to play in women's sports. This week, a transition male athlete, meaning a male pretending to be a female, at a major event won everything and is now qualified to compete in the state finals next weekend. As a male, he was a less than average competitor, all true. As a female, this transition person is practically unbeatable. This is not fair and totally demeaning to women and girls. Please be hereby advised that large-scale federal funding will be held.
Megyn called out with razor-sharp precision. Newsom's idea of environmentalism is banning plastic straws, while wildfires burn half the state, like in a deleted scene from Dante's Inferno. You can't sip oat milk out of bamboo if the whole city is on fire, Gavin. But hey, at least the carbon-neutral napkins were compostable. And let's talk crime. Oh, glorious California, where shoplifting under $950 is basically an Olympic sport, and restorative justice means giving your burglar a spa voucher. Gavin's approach to law and order? Like trying to enforce traffic laws with interpretive dance. Under him, defund the police became less of a slogan and more of a Yelp review. Greg had a field day. Crime in California is now just ambitious borrowing, he joked. Stores are locking up deodorant like it's diamonds and hiring security guards who need therapy after every shift. Newsom's solution? Blame Texas. Because when all else fails, point east and hope nobody notices your Gucci loafers are standing in a puddle of failure.
Was absolutely the right who just couldn't wait to make an issue out of transgender kids. I mean, this is why Gavin Newsom, I think, is having a hard time on his rehabilitation tour as he's launched his podcast. And it's because he's it's impossible for him to run from his actual record because he can't fully disavow it. He can't fully get away from it. It's like how he said, nobody in our office ever used Latinx. And then a million clips were produced of Gavin Newsom himself, let alone his office, saying the word Latinx. Like, he can't fully divorce himself from the last 10 years.
Then there's the schools. Oh, sweet academic chaos. Gavin shut them down for what felt like 6 presidential terms. California kids were doing algebra on dial-up Zoom while Gavin was giving TED Talks about equity from a gold-plated yoga mat. Meanwhile, private schools, including the ones his kids attended, somehow kept the doors open. Suspicious? Only if you believe in logic. Megyn didn't hold back. Public education in California is like a substitute teacher who shows up hungover and allergic to facts. Under Newsom, math scores dropped faster than his approval rating, and kids graduated knowing more about microaggressions and multiplication tables. But Gavin doesn't let reality get in the way of a good photo op. No. He struts out to wildfires and designer boots, tossing around words like resilience and equity, as if saying them is the same as solving anything. Gutfeld nearly choked laughing. The man treats disasters like Coachella with ashes, he said. He's not leading. He's live streaming the apocalypse in 4K.
See, Newsom wasn't just ignoring the problem, he enabled it because Dems were in a woke crouch, terrified of their loony base. But now that he's seeing the White House, he's got a brand new act, a common sense centrist. Just a soccer dad in khakis, fed up with crime and chaos. It's all bull, a costume, a political drag show. And the kids this drag queen is reading to are the gullible voters. He's the classic wolf in sheep's hair gel. Just watch him answer the tough questions.
Any other questions here?
Yes, Governor. California has a terrible homeless problem. Why do you think that is?
You know, I appreciate that question, and I think it's a matter of perspective.
And don't get them started on Gavin's presidential thirst. Oh, yes, the worst-kept secret since Adam Schiff spray tan. Newsom wants to run for president because what this country needs is more condescension, more broken systems, and more hair products than a salon clearance bin. Gavin's running not on a platform, but on a cloud of smug, so thick it has its own weather pattern. Megyn practically spit out her coffee. He's running for president of what? The HOA of hell? She laid into the idea of a Gavin-led America, like it was the worst possible Netflix reboot. Imagine Biden, but with the vocabulary of a TEDx speaker and the self-awareness of a reality TV contestant.
You could be the governor of any state. What would it be? And you might say, oh, I would be in Texas, live free or die. No, that's New Hampshire. Just live free, whatever. It's
or just die.
Die, or just, it's California. Because people can live under the most incompetent governance ever. The good news, they appear to be gaining ground among Hamas trannies. That is like a paid laugh. A new book claims California Governor Gavin Newsom secretly funded a monument to himself inside San Francisco City Hall. Apparently, the statue is so realistic.
Oh, and let's not forget Newsom's greatest stage, where every press conference came with enough drama to qualify for a Golden Globe. Mask mandates, business closures, moral lectures. Then, surprise, he's caught at a birthday dinner with no mask. Enough guests to start a cult, and the kind of wine menu that screams, do as I say, not as I guzzle. Gutfeld was howling. It's not hypocrisy, it's hypocrisy plus. That's when your double standards are so loud, they qualify as a fire hazard. The guy shut down churches, weddings, even funerals, but made exceptions for Hollywood sets and fundraisers. Gavin governs like a guy who quotes Nietzsche at brunch, but tips in coupons.
He found, put together after Newsom was out there claiming, never.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. The Latinx and Black communities. You've got politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not even serious.
That's so fun. Gavin, a simple Google search about yourself will serve you well before you make these sweeping claims. But on the same dishonest, disingenuous front, he tried to act like he's the reasonable one on the trans and the children.
Meanwhile, small businesses got torched harder than a gender studies degree at a truck rally. And Gavin's answer to economic ruin? Another committee. Because if there's one thing Newsom believes in more than bad optics, it's bureaucratic swamp monsters with PowerPoints and zero accountability. And oh boy, Megyn unleashed on the taxes. California under Newsom has achieved a magical paradox: record revenue and record deficits. It's like finding a way to lose money while running a lemonade stand on the surface of the sun. The taxes are so high, even the IRS blushed. You pay more to live in a shack in San Francisco than for a villa in Greece, with earthquakes included.
Kennedy, a new book. Gavin Newsom funded claims that Gavin Newsom funded a monument of his head in San Francisco City Hall to commemorate his time as mayor. Was he a good mayor? I don't think so.
He was a horrible mayor. Like everywhere he's gone in the state, Every big problem has only metastasized.
Gutfeld nailed it. He treats taxpayers like donors to his personal failure fund. Every year, more people flee California than contestants on a bad dating show. But Gavin doesn't see a problem. He sees opportunity zones. Translation: make it someone else's problem, slap a label on it, and call it innovation. And how could we forget the tech exodus? Under Newsom, Silicon Valley turned into Silicon Valley Leave. Elon left. Oracle left. Joe Rogan fled to Texas. So fast he broke the sound barrier. Gavin's strategy? Pretend it's not happening while casually tweeting quotes from the Dalai Lama, hoping no one notices the unemployment line behind him stretches to Oregon. Even the environment, Gavin's holy altar, is crumbling. California can't keep water in its reservoirs or leaves off its power lines, but somehow spends billions on rail systems that don't go anywhere, literally. Megyn joked, the only people riding Gavin's bullet train are consultants billing hourly and lobbyists chasing dreams.
How about Gavin or Newsom? The hell?
Oh,
the
no,
hell
I mean,
is... who's a better
first of all,
actor? I'm not sure. They're both up for an award.
I was watching him on MSNBC. He's got a new hand motion. I was going to text him. It's this. It's got like, usually it's kind of this, and then he's doing this. He was doing this thing on MSNBC. He's doing this whole thing. Look, he is the fakest person I think I've ever met in my entire life. So synthetic, and honestly, that's very dangerous, like incredibly dangerous. Like he's the type of person that could just like stare at you like, oh yeah, I voted for Trump, and just like pass a lie detector test. that is very, very dangerous. Just
Greg didn't just chime in, he detonated. It's not a train. It's a metaphor for his entire career. Over budget, off track, and pretending to go somewhere. And honestly, that's generous. At least trains usually arrive eventually. Gavin's career is more like a Segway tour led by someone who forgot how wheels work. Every turn leads to a pile of taxpayer receipts and a photo op featuring him smiling like he just cured cancer with a selfie stick. He stands there like a mannequin that got tenure, waxed, buffed, and glowing like a Whole Foods aisle came to life and majored in political science. He delivers speeches like he's auditioning to be the spiritual successor to President Bartlett. Except instead of the West Wing, he's clearly starring in The Walking Dead, co-starring a budget deficit and zero self-awareness.
Often approaching things from that sort of mindset.
What do you mean? What do you mean for Trump?
I think there's sort of the grievance narrative that comes from Trump. This notion there is sort of a victim grievance.
Well, they did.
Let's take a closer look at this with a spot shadow or no spot shadow. What exactly is he trying to say here, huh? Is it a mysterious form of sign language for morons? Is he conveying some secret code to terrorists? Is he signaling the Los Angeles Angels to steal third base? But I'm willing to bet that former Californians recognize those hand signals. They're the motions you make to back up a U-Haul as you flee that failed state.
You could throw Gavin in a room with nothing but a mirror, and he'd still manage to give a press conference. He's so in love with his own reflection, he probably tries to outvote it, and loses. That's right, the man would lose a debate to a mirror. He's a lifestyle brand gone rogue. Imagine a TED Talk that refuses to end, just buffering for eternity between delusion and disaster, sipping oat milk lattes and making climate pledges with the sincerity of a used car ad. If ambition were intelligence, Gavin would have built a spaceship by now. But sadly, all he's built is a monument to mediocrity, held together with ego and overpriced pomade. Seriously, he's one pompadour short of opening a theme park called False Promises and Faux Empathy.
Twitter and on X, I addressed Gavin Newsom personally. He follows me, so I tagged him. And I'm going to be honest, I begged him to please stop this for all the reasons stated on our YouTube feed. And he didn't get back to me. But I think I was shooting at the wrong public official who follows me, because President Trump is so fearless in this battle. And President Trump, Gavin Newsom ignored me, but President Trump took up the mantle. Big Daddy got out there with his bazooka and was like, I solved this problem, and you governors better freaking go along or you're...
California, land of dreams and once the tech mecca of the world, is now a dystopian PowerPoint presentation brought to life. Rolling blackouts, tent cities, potholes with better infrastructure than Gavin's plans. And through it all, the man stands there rehearsing for his next I'm not running for president, but here's a 7-minute monologue anyway moment. Thanks to Greg and Megyn, we've peeled back the eco-friendly wallpaper. This isn't leadership. It's performance art with a campaign fund. The emperor has no clothes, just a $3,000 0-cent suit, a personal stylist, and a weekly press conference to confidently say absolutely nothing. But hey, he banned plastic straws, so that's something.